Well, hello. It's been a while since I've done one of these, but welcome back to the Ultimate Hearts of Iron 4 DLC guide. And with the release of Trial of Allegiance, I think it's finally time to continue the series and take a look at Hearts of Iron 4, Death or Dishonor. Following the release of Hearts of Iron 4 Together for Victory, Paradox would go back to the drawing board, hoping to improve with their next DLC. And on the 14th of June 2017, Hearts of Iron 4 Death or Dishonor would be released. The DLC included new focus trees for Hungary, Czechoslovakia, Romania, and Yugoslavia, as well as adding a new equipment conversion and licensing system. Reviews for the DLC were pretty similar to Together for Victory. While people liked the new focus trees, they thought that the new systems should have been patched into the base game, and also that these trees are now quite dated. The Hungarian focus tree is easily the best tree in the DLC in my opinion. Although it isn't the biggest or the most detailed tree, it allows you to go down some really fun paths, and your position allows you to expand pretty easily. The best political branch to go down has to be, of course, Austria-Hungary. This tree, although outdated, is still so fun today and is one of the easiest ways to get lots of land as Hungary. Next has to be the historical tree. This one sees you allying yourself with Germany. And although you don't get as much land as when you play the Austria-Hungary tree, this can still be some fun. And it should also be mentioned that in this tree, you can ally yourself with Italy, if that's what you want. Next has to be one of the most weird and forgotten trees in Hoi 4. The Democratic King tree sees you request Sweden for their monarch, and then aligns with then the option of joining the Allies or creating a Balkan pact. This tree, although unique, leaves you as Hungary isolated, since everyone around you is either going to join the Axis or get invaded by the Germans. And finally, we have the worst tree that Hungary has to offer, the communist one. This tree allows you to go communist and either join the Russians and get curb stomped by Germany, or create your own faction and do absolutely fuck all for the entire game. The Yugoslav focus tree is the biggest and the most detailed tree in Death or Dishonor. There are lots of paths to go down, which can be great for gameplay. However, the reason why it doesn't rank above Hungary is because its position isn't the best compared to it, in my opinion. The best political tree in Yugoslavia, in my opinion, is actually the communist one. If you go down the communist path and don't join the Soviets, you can actually start peasant uprisings in neighboring countries and create a big communist faction in the Balkans. And this is where the good news ends for Yugoslavia, as the rest of the political trees are a bit dogshit, with you just losing land. Next has to be the limited self-government path, which sees you essentially dissolving Yugoslavia, but without all the genocide. After this, you can either give all the nations that was once Yugoslavia independence and create a faction. Why would you ever do this? You can also create a united kingdom after that and annex all your puppets and reform Yugoslavia but without the debuffs, I guess? I don't know, this is all just really confusing. This path is a bit shit. But don't worry, because if you don't want to explode as Yugoslavia and reform it all over again, you can also end the regency and either do a wedding to join the Allies, where you're gonna get shit on by the Axis, or do a coronation and do absolutely nothing for the entire game. How fun. And finally, the worst path in the Yugoslav focus tree has to be the evolution path. This is just basically you becoming the Axis' bitch, with you giving away all your land to join the Alliance. The Romanian focus tree is actually kind of confusing and hard to rank if you don't know what you're doing, so I'm just going to try and break it down as best as I can, and not rank it from best to worst. Starting from the left, we have one of the historical paths, which is the Preserve Greater Romania path. In this, you have the option of joining the Soviets, joining the Germans, or joining the Allies. However, none of these paths are actually mutual, meaning, for instance, you can renew the Romanian-Polish lines and also deal with the devil. This is kind of weird, and you will notice this again as you move throughout the focus tree. Next, we have hands down the best path you can go as Romania, the Balkans Dominance tree. If you go down this, you basically go sicko mode and start invading everyone around you. I will say they balance this a bit, as you must have a specific amount of manpower in the field to do this focus. But still, if you spam out units by 1938 or 1939, you can have Hungary, Czechoslovakia, Greece, Yugoslavia, and Turkey. After that, we have the Institute Royal Dictatorship path, which technically splits off into more paths. This is where it gets confusing. First, if you go down this path and go down the Balkans Dominance path, where you pop out Hungary, you can do the Majesty's Loyal Government, where you just stay monarchist for the rest of the game. Or you could go down the Flexible Foreign Policy path, where you once again get a democratic, fascist, or communist government. And once again, these three paths aren't mutual, meaning you can do all of them if you like. Finally, after that, you can either handle the king if you went down the pro-allied government, or get King Michael's coup if you switched and went fascist or communist. I think what they were trying to do here is to simulate how Romania switched sides IRL, but in this DLC, it just comes off as messy and incomplete. Czechoslovakia, sadly, is going to take the spot of having the worst focus tree in Death or Dishonor, but that doesn't mean it isn't actually a bad nation to play. In fact, I think that Czechoslovakia can be one of, if not, the most fun nation to play in this DLC. But back to the point. The focus tree looks like something straight out of Together for Victory, with the standard Go Communist, Fascist, or Democratic. But let's rank all of these paths from best to worst. Starting off with the political direction tree, the best path here has to be the democratic one. Although you don't get to expand at all with this path, it ties in to another path that we'll talk about later on. Next is the fascist path, where you can either be by yourself and get shit on by Germany, become their puppet, or join their faction. None of these options are really good. From there, you can partition Poland and Hungary. Now while this path does allow for expansion, unlike going democratic, I personally see allying yourself with Germany as not really a fun game, as you have to give up the Sudetenland eventually. Finally, the worst path in the political tree has to be the communist one. In this one, you join the Comintern and can partition Romania and Poland, which while good, won't mean anything because as soon as Barbarossa starts, you're going to die. Moving on to the strategic decisions tree, the best path by far has to be the Entente of our own. With this, you can reform the Little Entente and invade Hungary and Bulgaria, and all of this to lead to an epic showdown with Germany. Definitely one of the most fun experiences you can have in the game. Next has to be the Historical Trust in the West Path, where you get some research bonuses. That's all. That's literally all that it is. Research bonuses. And possibly the worst path, not just in Czechoslovakia but the entire game, probably is the German appeasement path. Have you ever wanted to just hand over the Sudetenland and become Germany's puppet for the rest of the game? Didn't think so. Well, we have arrived at the conclusion of this DLC review. Hearts of Iron 4 Death or Dishonor has the premise of choosing to go with the Allies, Comintern, or the Axis, and so the focus trees are centered around that idea. However, I really don't think it's worth all that much. The focus trees, while fun, are really outdated in today's standards and don't hold up that well. Furthermore, the new equipment conversion and licensing system has no reason to be part of the $21 that the DLC was priced at, and should definitely have been part of the patch. And I think that Paradox has noticed this, because as I was filming this video, Hearts of Iron 4, Together for Victory, Death or Dishonor, and Waking the Tiger are all free for a limited time on Steam. So by all means, if you have yet to check out any of those DLCs, now is the perfect time to pick them up at a great price. Overall, I would rank the DLC at a C tier once again. Definitely an improvement over Together for Victory, but still isn't worth the price. Also, looking back on my previous review, I think I was way too fair on Together for Victory, so I'm going to move that down to a D tier. Well, there we have it. Finally, another review out. Thanks so much for making it to the end of the video, and please consider subscribing, as it does help me out. I'll see you guys next time, where we cover Hearts of Iron 4, Waking the Tiger.